y'all, it's been a while. Welcome back to MPQ Mastery, where we teach you to destroy more gems. I have been gone because I've been making an album. I do music now, if you didn't know. So, but I did get some words and some comments. All of you been really, really cool. Thank you for allowing me to take kind of a break to do this other project that I've been working on. But a lot of you have been saying, oh my gosh, I'm having so much trouble with the puzzle gauntlet. So if you can see here, I was able to get through my puzzle gauntlet. I didn't do every iteration of, every node, but that's only because I think it stopped kind of giving me points. but it is there. I have figured out how to defeat all of them. And just so that I can assist you all with this, I wanted to go through and just kind of tell you what my strategy was, what characters I used, and hopefully that might lead to you all being able to do something similar and be able to beat this and get all the points and whatnot. So let's start with the first node here. The first one is collect 18 blue AP, and no blue AP will fall. So this one wasn't necessarily that difficult. There's a lot of characters who can do blue AP. But for me, anytime I do these puzzles, I always bring along my 5-star Storm. The cool thing about her is that she can eliminate tiles, and then she can also turn team-up tiles to any color. Now, the trick there is that that color has to be present on the board, so she can make more of it, but if there's no blue on the board, then she can't do that. So she is integral, but you do need somebody else with her, and who I brought with her was, it might sound weird, but pretty much the easiest choice. And I bring the 2-star Magneto. Get him some purple AP, and he will be able to make those blue, and then you would then use Storm's yellow to make more blue, and then just keep collecting the blue. At that point, it becomes pretty easy. You'll also notice who you're fighting against is you are fighting against Iceman, who has powers to make more blue, Beast, who makes blue, and Misty Knight, who makes blue. The problem with allowing them to make their blues, obviously, is that when they do it, they deal damage as well. So the trick here with the characters that I end up using, mostly Storm and Magneto, your third choice really doesn't matter, at least for me. I didn't find, just don't pick anybody who actively uses blue. So you want to use pretty much any character that just doesn't use blue. that's the trick. A lot of the time I'll bring in Karnak because of his red ability that allows me to kind of pick and choose which ones I'm destroying, and then don't use his blue on this one because obviously you need to keep that blue. But even his red ability is really, really good for this. So you're bringing in Karnak for the red, you're bringing in Storm for the green and the yellow, you're bringing in Magneto for his purple, and that is pretty much a really easy win. The first match is not that difficult. The second one, round 2, is you want to down all the enemies, so this isn't accumulate AP, this is down all the enemies, but you only deal damage when green is made, and that is by anybody. So even if they match green, they will deal damage to themselves, essentially, which is fine. I like that actually quite a bit. So the trick here is you want to obviously bring your Black Widow. They have Black Widow who can make green, Star-Lord who can make green, and the Hulk, the 5-star Hulk who can make green. If you can bring in this same team, go for it, to be quite honest. I brought in, the Black Widow is mostly the most important character. So I switched out my Magneto, who I was using to make blue, and I switch him out for where is she? For the 3-star Black Widow. And honestly, I leave Storm there because she can still use her yellow to make more green, and I leave Karnak there because his red is, again, very good at being able to make things fall a certain way. Now, there is one trick with this, is a lot of the time when you use Black Widow's purple ability to make the green, a lot of the time you might be wanting to make it into 5 matches and whatnot. But in this case, because you're dealing damage only when you make a green match. You actually want to spread it out. You want to make as many 3 matches with those greens as you can, and that actually will get you the most bang for your buck. As well as, obviously, the Hulk is going to be making green every turn, so that helps out. You want to get Star-Lord yellow, so if you want to just leave all the yellow alone, let them match the yellow so that Star-Lord can use his ability to make more green, let him do that. But you want to scoop up all the purple for yourself. You don't really necessarily want the other team to do it. It's more just so you have control over your character's health. You can allow them to just use their powers, but in that case, you're just waiting for them to play the game for you as opposed to playing the game yourself. The third challenge is have 13 black tiles at once. This one was a pretty easy one, and obviously the secondary thing to that is no black tiles are going to fall. It says no black tiles will fall. However, if you bring Domino in with you, black tiles will fall. They just will, because that is Domino's thing. So when you bring Domino, it definitely will fall. So I had lots of black falling, and at that point, if you use Storm's yellow to then create more black, use Karnak's red to make more things fall, thus making more black fall. Pretty easy. It wasn't that difficult. You'll notice I did it 3 times pretty easily, and you wanted to have 13 black tiles at one time. So the strategy with this fight particularly would be to build up as much yellow as you can. Domino is going to make the black fall on there, and when I have Storm's yellow ability set up, that when I use it, I don't have it at full. You'll notice that I don't have her at full yet, but when I use it, I convert 6 team-up tiles to that color. So essentially, if I need to have 13 for this fight, then I will just wait until I have 7 on the board, and then I will activate the power, obviously paying attention to where the team-up tiles are so that you don't inadvertently make a match. It's kind of tricky, but, you know, it is what it is. Dr. Doom is on the board as well, so he will make some blacks, which is helpful. So if you want to leave your blues alone and let him take the blue so he can convert the blues to black, then you can totally do that. The next one is round 4, which is collect 20 red AP. This one isn't actually all that hard. It says no red will fall, but also Cyclops is on there, so Cyclops is going to end up making red, and Riri Williams ends up making red. The problem with Riri, of course, is that she's a beast, so you don't really want her making red, because when she makes red, she makes it for herself a lot of time. So essentially, switch out Domino, and switch Domino out for exactly the same character. I always bring in my Cyclops because it's an easy way to make red. I still leave Karnak there because instead of his red, then I start using his blue, which can spontaneously kind of make matches and stuff with critical tiles. Again, Storm is wonderful with her green and her yellow abilities. So there you go. It honestly, it's so funny that Storm and Karnak, and then you just switch out the third character for most of these. This is one that I haven't done more than once, I believe. This one's down all the enemies. When an enemy projectile is matched, you deal 9,000 damage. You're just fighting Sandman. No yellow tiles will fall. Obviously, Sandman can create yellow tiles, and with his yellow ability, he can make those shield tiles. However, here is the route that I took, and it is slightly different. I switch Cyclops out for Beta Ray Bill, and I switch Karnak out for Polaris, and I switch Storm out for, and this might surprise you, the 5-star Kingpin. Now, what this does is 5-star Kingpin has a blue ability, which is actually the strongest one I have, which is called Forced Hand, which is you pick a strike, attack, or projectile on the board and you give it to the enemy. So this allows you to not have to wait for Sandman to create your own. You automatically will end up making some projectiles because of Beta Ray Bill. Polaris will make a bunch more of those, so you have lots. Then, also every time you destroy or match a shield tile, it's going to produce blue. Then you use that blue to use Kingpin. You give away one of your shield tiles, and then you match it. Just make sure that you're giving away one that you're immediately matching. And honestly, this team right here made it pretty easy to do, so bam, I did it. The bottom row is a little bit trickier, but not all that bad. Collect 20 purple AP. No purple tiles will fall. Now, what I did for this one, and again, you have to pick one of the characters at the top here, in this case. So obviously, I picked Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch, she'll put a blue tile on the board, which will create some purple tiles. Bam, done, right? But the goal here is to have 20 purple AP. So what I did is I kind of went back into my Spider-Verse team, and there's a combo here of Miles with Miguel, which can actually net you a lot of purple every time you, because one of Miles' powers is every time that you match a web tile, it'll produce some purple. Red and blue, but the purple is the most important thing. So essentially, Scarlet Witch is there. You want to try and protect her blue tile that will create the purple whenever it goes off. And then you just want to keep matching the yellows, blacks, and blues in order to have Miguel jump on screen and do more damage and create more web tiles. And then anytime you or the enemy matches those web tiles, you're going to be building up that purple. Just remember, don't launch either Scarlet Witch's purple or Miles's purple. Just don't do it. It'll be you'll be okay to not use those powers. Use every other power at your disposal, and you will get through the fight, and you will be able to collect your 20 purple AP pretty quickly, especially if you fill the whole board up with web tiles. The next one, puzzle it over. This is have 13 red tiles at once. No red tiles will fall. However, you notice that they have Magic, who has a power that she can put a tile on the board that every turn it will create some red tiles. You have Iron Man, who will also create some red tiles. Now, obviously, after you have to pick again one of these characters that are here on the board. None of them will create red tiles. So that's the trick there. So really any of them is kind of just fine. I will always default to Coulson if their specific abilities don't really matter a lot of the time, because if nothing else, Coulson has the ability to make charge tiles and swap them, and it can give you kind of an advantage when you're trying to hit specific colors. Since we are talking red, I went right back to Cyclops, because you want to be able to have the red on the board. And then an easy kind of third character that I pick is Professor X, because as soon as you have some red on the board, he can use his purple ability to make some more and deal a bunch of damage. The trick here, obviously, is that you don't want to deal more damage before defeat the team before you have all the before you have all the red AP on the board. You want to make sure that you get the tiles on there. So this is a good team. Again, the Cyclops becomes the star, so you want to try and get as much yellow as you can. Make those team-up tiles into reds, and then, I mean, that'll pretty much do it for you. If you wanted to switch Professor X out for somebody else who does actually make reds, the other option might be MODOK, but I don't necessarily like using MODOK all that much. I don't think that I've figured him out 100%, but his black ability does put some reds on the board. So if your goal was to do it as quickly as possible, the problem is while Cyclops is targeted at team-up tiles, so you know you can at least easily kind of predict where those reds are going to go. MODOK, he just converts 6 to red, and it's like, ooh, that means it could go anywhere, which means you might just match them away. So it's a little less, I mean, Professor X basically does the same thing, but but you know, I guess either of them would be fine. The next one is collect 28 green AP. No green tiles will fall. This one was actually a little bit trickier for me. Obviously, when you're talking green, I went down and grabbed my Black Widow, bam, and then the idea was just to feed her with as much purple as possible. So yeah, and then at that case, stayed with Coulson, and I believe that I brought Professor X, but, you know, honestly, looking at the past, you know, teams, obviously you could bring Star-Lord in with you, or you could bring in that 5-star Hulk if you happen to have that 5-star Professor Hulk, which is right here. Both of them will create some greens, which could be helpful. But I feel like Coulson is probably the easiest, again, because you can kind of switch and do stuff with it. So there you go. So those are the top and the bottoms. The 2 extra ones over here, actually, they were really kind of easy for me. This one was collect 20 yellow AP. No yellow tiles will fall. No black tiles will fall. So the question here was, and it won't let me select it anymore, because it just won't do that. The trick here, though, was that you had to pick one of the characters here at the top. So you had to pick Cloak and Dagger, Coulson, Jubilee, Ragnarok, or Scarlet Witch. So I went with Jubilee because honestly, it was made to not work with Cloak and Dagger. Cloak and Dagger would create yellow tiles immediately, but only if there was black on the board. So there you go. So I decided to not do Cloak and Dagger. I went with Jubilee, and with Jubilee, I just kept feeding into her purple ability, which would randomize the color of the tiles on the board in a couple different sectors, and I would always get some yellow in there, and then I would just work with that. Also, obviously, again, who you're fighting, and I believe the power that Elsa has is her purple ability, which actually does convert green to black. It could be good because then if you allowed her to use her power, then it would end up converting some to yellow. And then if you had Cloak and Dagger, then it would also convert some to yellow. The problem with this is that you would then be waiting for her to set traps and possibly hurt you. I went kind of it was the long way. It was not a quick win with Jubilee, but I did end up winning. So there you go. Now, if we go here with down all the enemies, this is whenever an enemy attack tile is matched. Then you deal 1586 and prevent all the damage. No black tiles will fall. So the trick here, again, was you had to pick one of the top characters here. Because no black tiles would fall, I was actually okay with that. So I actually did bring in Cloak and Dagger at this point. Cloak and Dagger, if there's more yellow than black, creates some black tiles. So that immediately puts some on the board. Then I just did everything that I could to make more black tiles pop up. Then I just did all I could to make more black tiles pop up. And along the way, the idea is to just feed Storm. Make sure they match all the black. You don't want to match any black. Make sure they match all of the black. And then as soon as Storm has enough black AP, she will launch her Hailstorm. Then you just match all those strike tiles and then it's over. So it's a little bit of a wait in the beginning. But as soon as she launches the power, as soon as she has the black to do it, bam, it's done. And again, if you could just bring in whoever you wanted, that would be a different thing. But since you can only bring in Cloak and Dagger, Coulson, Jubilee, Ragnarok, or Scarlet Witch, Cloak and Dagger is the best choice for that. So hopefully you guys found that helpful, and it'll help you guys. This event's going on for a week. As of the recording of this, there's 6 days left. 5 hours and 5 days and 23 hours. So there's 6 days left. Hopefully this helps you guys, and you were able to complete it with my little tips and tricks. Again, this was how I did it, but if you went a different route with any of your strategies, let me know about all that down in the comments. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, and thanks for coming to MPQ Mastery. Go destroy some gems.